review what I just said in case you weren't listening. You couldn't hear my voice because my face was too far from the mic. Um, I went over my old website or my new website, Artifacts, to discuss the things I want to try and do for certain countries who are autonomous and mostly sovereign right now. I'm trying to basically prove to people that we're not living in autonomous and sovereign nations, mostly, not entirely, but mostly. So that's part of my goal is making sure people realize what an autonomous nation is and what a sovereign nation is and what that looks like individually and collectively and on a nation level scale and on the exoplanet level scale. Ixo is the opposite of exo, which means it's internal. So exoscale, we are not autonomous or sovereign as an exoscale, sort of, because so many nations are not autonomous or sovereign. So I'm trying to help autonomous and sovereign nations protect themselves from nations that are being coerced into thinking they're part of a collective that's not healthy or coerced into a collective that's not known to them, like a secret society collective, puppeting or muppeting their people who are at the top in their society or in high echelons of power and have influential either political, business, or any kind of stratum of, Hollywood or like movies and things like that. I don't know. Anyway, to show that they're not autonomous, they're not strategically sovereign on their own. So they're not making decisions for their own benefit at times. They're just making decisions that benefit secret societies, whose main goal is, I guess, to die, because that's what Jesus said. If you want to serve sin, you're going to die. It's not going to be fun, and ultimately it all pipelines to death. So you need somebody with emotional intelligence to explain to them what's wrong with them, but they realize and understand how emotional intelligence works, and they just do the opposite, or they control their descent into sin, into evil, into death, to make as much people go with them as possible, which is super insidious, and I don't know what to call it. It reminds me of A Bug's Life with the screaming butterfly bug. So the caterpillar, like screaming caterpillar guy. Anyway, this is my Medium profile. You can kind of see it here. I don't want to go into it again. And the different ways to prophesy are listed. The real pagan reset is listed here, what it is and what it's done to society for about 200,000 years. The firmament, what that stands for, and why they're trying to fly rockets and other things in China and America to test it, see if they can smash through it. The rockets are just exploding on contact or doing other weird stuff they don't like. Every once in a while, I do something funny, and then they don't really understand why the firmament's important and what's necessary about it. But it's this idea of the moon, it's the idea of the Earth, and it's the idea of the barrier in between, which is a good thing. So it's all green. For now, we're not allowing reprobates to run space or even try and get into space anymore. Any of the prophets or spirit walkers, or whatever you consider me. Emotional intelligence is a really powerful tool, even if you're an atheist. As an atheist, you could ascend. It's just harder because if you don't have that initial flint of that godly flint or emotional intelligence, it's harder to do. So you need something to basically tell you like what are emotions and how do I need to understand them and why do I chase that language rather than going into the advanced logical, linguistic, syntax-based systems or like the more materialist abstract, we'll say, where things are enunciated into sound, into hand movements. So if you look at it, I could smile at you, I could wave at you, and I could feel the same emotion. I could say hi and feel the same emotion. All three topics have the same emotion. So in context, I've done three different things. In emotional speak, I've done the same thing. So that's why emotions are simpler, more efficient way to communicate and a way to build communication and language and understanding in the mind itself. Once you learn to map into calculations with numbers, with music, with movement, however you, songs, music, movement, writing, anything. You can basically map your emotions in anything. You learn how to understand why it's such a battle to deal with the secret societies, because they're chasing a system of control so that the natural order of growth doesn't happen, like putting a watermelon in a tiny little box and hoping it grows. It'll just get old really fast and die probably rather quickly because it can't grow inside that little box. Or any kind of the idea of growth being trapped inside of a cage or a control structure where they control what grows and what doesn't as much as they can and try to stop life from thriving. That's really all the pagan occult is. It's just a slow system into hell. Or heckler, I call it. Heckler's different. Heckler's where you hate life and you're with the living, and then you go to hell after and realize that was dumb. I don't like being a heckler anymore. God, let me out of here. And that doesn't really happen because they know what they did. They know why they joined, and they chose evil for